Welcome back, everybody. This is Tom Olson here, and I am here reviewing and going over and working together with you on the 30 Days to Good Success. These videos are about as long as it really should take you every day to read through one of these chapters, write some notes down, put yourself on a path, create that vision to be able to make this year the best year that you've ever had, and really start putting yourself on a trajectory where in 5, 10, 15 years from now, you could be doing things that you never would have possibly imagined yourself. I said in the very last chapter that if you're not embarrassed of where you were a year ago, you are not growing enough. So put that in your pipe and smoke it today, and let's just think about that today. So this is a very long chapter. I don't know that the video is going to be super long, but there's a lot of work in today's chapter for you. So maybe I'll leave some work for you as well. But really the question is, question number 19, drum roll please. When will you be financially free? Well, first of all, we got to kind of think about what does the word financial freedom mean? And it's going to mean something different to every single person. And really, that is kind of one of the first questions. What does financial freedom mean for you? What is financial freedom for you? What is that going to enable you to do? What impact is that going to be able to let you have on this earth? For me, it was to be able to have kind of my moat set. If you think about a castle has a moat around it, and it has enough security in which if it wants to go to another land to be able to go slay the dragon, it already has its castle protected. And that's kind of how I looked at it. It's being able to get past just the fact of survival, but be able to now go and invest and be able to go take bigger risks that I wouldn't have been able to take if my family and my things weren't taken care of. I've done this, and I've created financial freedom for myself. And I can just give you a quick story of my own story. I went to a mastermind, and at the mastermind, the guy said, "Hey, you can have financial freedom in 5 to 7 years if you will create a plan, I think he used the word blueprint. If you will create a blueprint for yourself, and you can have financial freedom." And I went home that night, and on the plane ride home from that conference, it was in Dallas. I came back here to Chicago, and on that plane ride home, I did exactly what I'm going to ask you to do in this sheet right here, and talking through this and trying to help you give yourself a visual plan in how you can actually achieve financial freedom. So what does financial freedom mean? I think, in my opinion, what financial freedom means is having enough passive income or having enough money coming in automatically that pays for all my bills. And this was actually taught to me, really, I think the first time I learned this concept was in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he kind of laid this out. I don't know if he called it financial freedom or financial independence or whatever he called it, but really that's kind of how I thought about this. So if I could have enough cash machines going automatically where I had this automatic income coming in every single month without me having to work a job or without me having to work. Now, don't get me wrong. I think in every type of investment, whether it's a passive or active investment, there is some type of active activity that does need to happen. And eventually you can hire managers for that type of stuff as well. But just knowing that I've got automatic cash machines rolling. Maybe it's $100 a month or $500 a month or $1,000 a month. Think about what that would mean to you if you could have, let's just say, $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 of automatic income coming in. That means that what financial advisors have been teaching for years is wrong, and for decades they've been teaching you need to have this big pile of gold. Again, back to that mindset of I need to have a whole bunch. I don't believe in that. I believe it's not about what you have. It's about what you do with what you have. Having cash flowing assets. And for me, again, everybody has different mindsets and different ways to be able to get that. But for me, I like real estate. You might find it in bonds. You might find it in other ways, or investing in local businesses. I also love lending is another way that I believe that you can have passive income in as well. And there's many different ways that I think you can get there, but knowing what it is first and believing that you can actually put yourself in a position to have financial freedom is the first step. That's key. You have to. Financial freedom in terms of good success means, I'm going to have enough assets or enough liquidity or enough money that's germinating or recreating enough passive income for me to be able to live on. And I think for many people that I've talked to, it's been somewhere in between $5,000 a month and $20,000 a month on the high end. And yes, I know $20,000 a month may sound like a lot of money for some of you people. And for some people, $20,000 a month may not be that much at all. But for I work with a pretty large group of people from different backgrounds. And, for some people, if they had $5,000 a month, that would be plenty for them to live on for the rest of their life, and they could figure out how to make ends meet. For other people, $20,000 is the number. Again, I think most people I talk to lie somewhere really between that $8,000 and $12,000 a month. That's really the average of the people that the most people are going to lie in those ranges. So if you had that much money coming in, what would that look like for you? What I think before I get started in this, I do want to mention this one thing, because this is for Christian entrepreneurs. This is for kingdom-focused entrepreneurs, people that want to work to have to give on my shirt, people that want to live life on purpose, for purpose. They know that God's in existence and they want to obey him first. And I think the very first principle that we have to learn when it comes to money and being financially free is tithing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't apologize for it. This isn't what I say, this is what God says. I believe tithing is a very important discipline. It's the number one important discipline that I think we all should have. And to me, a tithe is 10%. And I think that's taught pretty clearly in the Bible. But I believe that you should be giving 10% of all of your income to the church, first and foremost, before you've even done anything else. It doesn't belong to you. The money doesn't belong to me. God says, hey, I'm going to give you 90%. All you have to do is just obey me and give me 10%. In a way, he's giving first. He's the one giving it first, and he's saying, all I'm expecting from you is 10%. Now, I believe you should actually give more and beyond, and over and beyond that. The offerings come in after that tithe. So I think that's the first principle you have to learn. I think if you can become financially free and stop worrying about money long before you're even out of debt. I do believe that. I think there's debt and there's financial freedom. And I think getting out of debt is one way to help you reach financial freedom sooner, but you can also use debt and leverage with debt when it comes to real estate, when it comes to other ways to be able to invest. So I'm not here saying that you have to be out of debt in order to have financial freedom, although I do believe that for most things, I think you ought to be out of debt. I think it's just foolishness, and it's actually, money can either work for you or it can work against you. Having financial freedom means you have enough money working for you that you don't have to necessarily worry about all the money that's working against you. You've eliminated those or pushed those down enough where it's not working against you. So think about that. Getting out of debt, I think, is important, and I would recommend most people get out of most personal debt there is. Sometimes I think people think that having a house and having a mortgage on your own personal house is actually less risky than not having a mortgage. But you do have a master, whether or not you want to agree with it or not. Like, you do have a master. You do have to pay that master every single month if you have a mortgage on your own personal property. So I think for most people, they would probably agree if you had your house paid off and all debts paid off, it'd be easier. So think about that. It might cost you. Some people might be in that $20,000 a month realm, but really they probably would be in the $10,000 a month if they didn't have all the debts that they had to pay for. So again, like, you can do this in many different ways. Even the book Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of teaches this exact same concept. There's a book and there's also a game that goes along with that. So most people, and something else that I want to make sure I get across is that most people can achieve financial freedom in 5 to 7 years. I honestly believe that with all my heart. I believe you can get out of debt in 3 to 5 years. I believe that you can, even the people that are in a lot of debt, I think they can get out of debt in 3 to 5 years if they'll focus on it. I believe you can be financially free in 5 to 7 years. I believe almost every person out there, if you're really set on it and it's really a goal, you can make that happen. Okay, so some practical tips. So the first one is, what does financial freedom mean to me? Page 104 in our workbooks. And then I'm not going to kind of go over how do I feel when I think about money. I'm not really going to get into that with these videos, but the financial habit that you wish you had already changed. Think about that. Maybe it's I need to start giving 10%. Maybe it's I need to start saving 10%. The problem is if you don't start saving when you're younger, If you don't start putting those habits in there when you're younger and you don't start investing when you're younger, it's going to take a lot more money and a lot higher percentage when you're in your 50s and 60s. Trust me, I promise you. I've dealt and I've helped many people become financially free, and it takes 30, 40, 50% of their income when they're in their 50s if they're going to try to create this later on in their life than if they were to just start when they're 20 or 30 or 40. So the first thing was, again, what does financial freedom mean to you? It's going to mean something different to every single person. What's that habit that you need to change, I think, is the next thing. All right, and then I've got a good amount of worksheets for you to go through. It really is, it's pretty, there's a lot to work through. So I'm going to give you guys some time to do that. But I think the next one, question number 2 on page 105 is knowing your number. So this is where you figure out if I had this much money, or I had this many rental properties, or I had this much money in bonds, or this much money in my whole life insurance policy. There's many different ways to get to this financial freedom number. But what number is that? And I think I like to just work on round numbers. And I know that I believe I can make 10% on my money. So let me give you a quick example, easy example. Let's just say that you have figured out that your monthly goal or their monthly number, the number is how much money, if I had this much money coming in passively without me having to work, would I be able to survive on and be able to live on without anything else, okay? So let's just say that number is $10,000 a month. So now let's kind of work backwards on that now. So if I know my goal is $10,000, how much money do I actually need to have if I can earn 10% on my money? And that money is a very simple math equation. It's $1 million. And now you might think to yourself, oh my goodness, you're telling me I have to save $1 million and that's impossible. I am here to tell you, 20 years ago, I would have thought that. I would have thought in order to save $1 million would have taken me a lifetime. But I'm going to tell you, it is not as hard as you think. You can do it. And if you start in your 20s, you can very easily do this by the time you're in your 40s or probably in your 30s. If you really focus on it, you could probably do it, within that 7 to 10, even when you're younger, if you'll actually focus on it. So what is your monthly number? And then your yearly number. So how much do I need each year? So if it's $100,000 a year, $120,000 you need a year, $10,000 is your monthly number. And then figure out what kind of percentage your risk tolerance is happy with. If you're happy with 6% yields, then you need to multiply that out and figure out what that is. Maybe it is $2 million that you need to be able to save or be able to come up with in order to be able to be financially free. I'm not sure what it is. You also could think about this in terms of maybe it's houses. Maybe if I collect so many houses and I know I'm going to get $150 or $250 a month in passive income from each one of those houses, that I know that I need this many houses in order to reach this goal. I'm going to tell you, for me personally, I put my money in 3 different places. I put my money in businesses, I put my money in real estate, and I put my money in lending. Those are the 3 things that I do. I don't think that you need to do a lot of things. I don't think you need to have a basket. I think this diversification thing is I've heard a new term lately. It's called diversification. Not diversification, diversification. And it basically just means that I've put my money in all these different things and I have no idea where it is. I have no idea what it's doing, and I don't know anything about anything I'm putting my money in. I would treat this like a business. A business, you start something, you create a process, and then once that process is going really well and you know it enough, you can go then and do something else. Do that with your money as well. Know what you're investing in and have some knowledge in it. Have some expertise in whatever you're doing. Understand how to vet deals, or understand how to vet where to place your money, how to vet those people, make sure they have character, make sure you trust them, not just in their character, but also in their competency in what they're doing, and that they're going to do the right thing. And if a downturn happens and you're trying to figure out how to get your money back from those people, are you okay going down that trail with that person? These are great questions to ask yourself. So again, what is your dream number, dream budget? And then where are you at now? We've already said, hey, now we've created that goal, that long-term financial freedom goal, maybe that might take me 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years to be able to achieve. And then kind of where am I at now? And that's going to go down to my debt, my house payment, every one of my this is kind of going back to your budgets. We've talked about budgets a little bit already, but creating that budget for yourself, that dream budget. What is your dream budget for a 1-year period of time? And make that your financial freedom goal. So create that dream budget, which is kind of going on the next page. And then you'll come up eventually with a total amount monthly to spend, and then your total monthly spend if you'd had no credit card debt or if you had no car payments or whatever it is that, again, creating that dream lifestyle of, hey, I only have maybe your house payment. And so if you only had your house payment for debt and all your other debts were paid off, what does that number look like? And how much money every single month would you need? And then I think you need to start asking yourself some other harsh questions. What can you say no to? What can you live without? Because if you're not willing to give up something for financial freedom, you're probably never going to get it. I'm just going to tell you. You have to, just like losing weight, just like being healthy, you've got to be willing to give up some things, maybe some bad drinks, maybe some bad food, maybe all the sugar, maybe the coffee, maybe the sugary coffee drinks, maybe it's pop, maybe whatever it is. You got to be willing to give up something. Same thing with financial freedom. I guarantee you, the more you're willing to give up, the quicker you will be able to have financial freedom. So what can you live without? Make that list there. And then again, what is my number? So knowing your number again, this is kind of helping you with your number again. Originally, you kind of came up with what you thought, but once you've done some analysis and really put your budget to paper, knowing what it really is, this is what I did on the plane ride home. I went through my yearly budget and every single item that I could think of, I just put on there. And then I started adding things like, hey, right now we take 1 yearly vacation. Okay, I think my dream budget says I want to take 2 yearly vacations. I believe investing in your children is one of the best things you can do, and maybe a third vacation every single year. Maybe, I take my wife to a marriage retreat every year. All those things, put them in that yearly dream plan budget. Then what is the difference between A and B? So the very next piece is, where am I at now and where do I want to be? When I started my plan, I'm going to be honest with you, my number was $10,000 a month. I wanted to achieve $10,000 a month in passive income. And for me, it was a pretty large, at the time, I only had $1,300 in passive income coming in. So my difference there was $8,300 a month that I needed more in passive income. And for me, I thought to myself, hey, okay, if it's $8,000 more a year all I need to do is add $20,000 a year in passive income every year for the next 5 years. And that was, it was a very simple plan for me. And I think I had $18,000 the first year in passive income. The second year I did this plan, I was a little bit behind. I think I only had like 30,000. After the third year, I had really got some ground and I was already at 75,000. And before the fourth year was even up, by about 3.5 years, I had already reached my goal. And I can tell you that's how it works. Like that compound effect of you focusing on these numbers and focusing on this math and focusing on your budgets and then focusing on being disciplined, focusing on creating financial freedom for yourself and making sure you know why. At the end of the day, why do you really want to have financial freedom? I believe if your why is big enough, your what will take care of itself. I honestly, firmly believe that with all of my heart. If your why is big enough, your what will take care of yourself. So if you have a really big goal and a really big reason why you want to have financial freedom, and if it's big enough to you, you will make it happen. If it's not big enough to you, if it doesn't really matter, if you don't really want to live a life of significance, then continue to do what you've always done. Because like Einstein said, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. So think about that. The difference between A and B, where you are now, where you want to go. What do you want? Why do you want financial? I just talked about that. And then, so the first question there is why do you want it? How do you want to reach it? This is your plan. So what are you going to say no to? What are you going to say yes to? Do you need to get out of debt or not? And then try to start picking the avenues in which you believe that you can reach financial freedom in. Maybe this is note investing. Maybe this is lending. Maybe this is investing with funds. Maybe this is investing in bonds. Maybe life insurance, overfunded life insurance may be part of your plan. Whatever it is. I'm not a certified financial planner. At some point in time, I may become one because I'm very passionate about this and I love helping people with this. But whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter what it is for you. Whatever that plan is for you, start thinking about that, write it down, answer these questions in here. I recommend a minimum of 2 or 3 different investment vehicles. Now, does that mean I need to start with all 3? No, start with one. Just invest with one of those. For me, you can do multifamily, lending, funds, notes, commercial assets, short-term assets, long-term assets. I think all of these have to have a place But you need to know about what you're doing before you get into before you start investing into people. The richest man in Babylon talks about a guy who had money. He called it his pile of gold. His pot of gold, or his sack of gold. He would go and after he had been saving, other people hadn't been saving, so he had been saving, and he got to buy somebody's business out that he knew about because he had it available. If opportunity knocks and you're not prepared for it, you don't have the money to invest. How many opportunities? Let me ask you a question. This is kind of off the spur of the moment here, not really in my notes and not really in the book, but how many opportunities have come around where you're just like, oh, I wish I had the money to be able to buy this at this time? Because when opportunity meets preparation, that's when something magical can happen. It is awesome and magical when you're prepared. I'll be honest with you. There's been times in my life where I haven't been prepared. When the last downturn happened in 2006 to 2009, 2010, you don't even want to know how many houses I wholesaled for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that today are probably worth $150,000, $200,000. Just so many, I wish so bad that I was prepared like I am now, that I had, hundreds of lenders, of people that want to loan me money. I had, people that were just ready to go, and, and I would just have held on to those houses and been way more prepared. So get prepared for those things. You can do syndications. You can do in business investment, stocks, cash. Cash is still somewhat an investment. I do believe that you're losing in cash, especially I believe with how much money we've printed. It's even going to get worse and worse with inflation. Life insurance, precious metals, whatever it is for you, what is your plan? So write that next down. And then something very important when it comes to financial freedom: when will you achieve it? You are going to hold yourself accountable. You're going to go tell other people. You're going to maybe tell me, whatever it is, whoever you want to go tell your community, but create that date. If you never put a date or a timeline on this goal, you will never achieve it. So put a timeline on that. And then the next step is, what do I need to do now to make this happen? I'm not going to get into it with today, but self-directed IRAs are an amazing way to be able to invest in non-traditional assets. Maybe you need to start an IRA. Maybe you need to start investing more in your 401k. There's many things that you might be able to do. Take a look at all those tools that are available in your toolbox and start writing down some things that I need to do today. Maybe you need to contact somebody. Maybe you need to join a new mastermind. Maybe you need to join a new group. Maybe you need to start going to the local RIAs. Maybe you need to go to start the local community groups. Whatever it is for you, what do you need to do today? And then what is your deadline going to be? I tell you, give yourself at least 3. I got room for 5 in the book. Give yourself at least 3. And give yourself a deadline. Hey, by this time, I am going to do X. Maybe it's open up a self-directed IRA. Maybe it's going to go and educate myself. Maybe you just need to go buy a book and read it and educate yourself. Maybe I need to do a budget. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe I need to ask my family why they would want financial freedom, and maybe help think about the wife that has been with you for so many years. You might think to yourself, my goodness, she deserves for me to have my priorities straight and for me to live life on purpose, for purpose. And having financial freedom for me does not just give me a pat on the back. Financial freedom for me was not about so I could live a better life or so I could live on a beach, and sip cocktails on a beach. That's not why I wanted financial freedom. I wanted financial freedom so I could have my family taken care of, so I could get out of the rat race, as Robert Kiyosaki says, or out of the survival mode and into a life that actually matters, and into that risk taking that actually takes a lot bigger risk to be able to have, and being comfortable with that higher risk. So everyone lives in one of these 3 different states. You will live in a life of surviving, you will live in a state of thriving, or you will live in a state of matter. And at the end of the day, I believe that financial freedom is a way for you to be able to begin living a life that matters, living a life of significance, and living a life that you can have the greatest impact on your community and on eternity. So think about what you could do with your time if you didn't have to spend it working a job every single day. And a lot of people get sucked into being a business owner because they were sucked into this dream and this lie that you're just going to be able to not work. And that's not true. A business owner normally works maybe 2 times the amount of hours that somebody working for somebody else might work. I can promise you, I've put in many hours. I've woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go on trips, or I've had to stay up 48 hours in a row before to make sure that something happened. And so don't get sucked into those lies of get rich quick. This is not what this is all about. This is about putting in the work, creating the plan, creating the vision for how you're going to create financial freedom, and then making it big enough, making it worthwhile. That why that you create is going to be what's going to help keep you going when you don't want to keep going anymore. So make sure that you understand why you're doing all this. And at the end of the day, I want to put everybody out there in Good Success land, everybody that's out there that follows Good Success, that's Good Success fan, that wants to be the right person, doing the right thing for the right reason, with the right people, for the right amount of time. I want to put you in a state of matter. At the end of your life, you want to think, hey, what I did actually mattered. And I want you to build businesses that matter. I want you to help people that matter. And I want you to invest in causes that matter. So I hope that's going to do it for today's episode. This is 25 minutes, and I know this is a long one today. I hope that I believe this is very important, and this is its own little thing in itself. I could probably go on all day about financial freedom because I'm very passionate about it, and I could probably write a whole book about financial freedom. I love the concept, and I love the vision, and I love helping people create their vision for financial freedom. So I can't wait to see you back here tomorrow for question number 20 of the 20 days to good success. I hope you have a good success day.